Guilty as charged. I know. We have been away from YouTube for a while. And you know why? We have been working on a spanking new website, racing against time to make this website live so that you would be able to do all your Christmas shopping at DIDA from a new website. And yes, www.dida.com.au is live now. It's easy, it's quick, and it's navigable, and it's far more interactive than our earlier one. And we have decided that we will give you a joyful and pleasurable Christmas shopping experience. So come along, I'll share tips and tricks as to how you can get rid of giftophobia, which is the fear of gift buying. We all suffer from that stress. So am I buying the right things? Am I buying enough? Have I covered everyone? What if this person already has what I have bought? What if she doesn't like gifts that I have bought for her? What if she wants to exchange, So many questions, so many problems, so many dilemmas. So today, Samita, from DIDA, as you know, most of you know me by now, but I am Samita, and I am an eco-entrepreneur and a fashion academic, and I run an eco gifts label online, which is DIDA Eco Gifts Online. So join me today, and I'll have, by the end of the few sessions that we do before Christmas, I'll have your Christmas gift shopping, Christmas gift presentation, re-gifting, everything related to Christmas gifts absolutely sorted. So come along, join me. Christmas shopping. Now don't take it lightly. It's a fairly serious business. You know what? I would suggest you fill out a template. Tip number 1, first thing to consider, who are you buying for? How many people do you need to buy for? So friends, family, neighbors, work colleagues, boss. So you could start with your mum, dad, your siblings, your cousins, your nephews and nieces, then your own home and hearth, your own family, your children, and very importantly, work colleagues and your boss. See, Christmas, as I just mentioned earlier, is a good time to spread love and to show people that they are appreciated, especially, it's a good time to say thank you. As I mentioned, you work with some people throughout the year. Maybe they've been very supportive. Maybe you have a boss who's very kind to you. So this is the time to say, okay, this is a little something, and this is my way of saying thank you to you. Thanks for being a nice XYZ. So that's the first point to remember. Who are you buying for? Tip 2, why are you buying it? Now, as I mentioned, it's about showing affection or appreciation. So is it family? If it's family, then of course you are showing your love, these are people you naturally love. With colleagues, you have to be mindful of, are you appreciating, or is it just courtesy, or is it both? Because that will also help you determine what kind of gifts you should buy for them. Some gifts can become personal. They are good for family. They are good for very close, your BFFs, but may not be the right gift for, say, your boss. It might at times become too personal. Depends on what kind of proximity, what kind of relationship you have with your particular colleague or particular boss. So that's why it is important to identify why are you buying it. That's, absolutely be very clear in your mind that I am buying this thing because I want to convey this message to that particular person. So get the message right. Do not get it wrong. This is your one chance to, get closer to the person and not create false impressions or a misunderstanding. That shouldn't happen with your gifts. So that's important. Tip 3, where? Now, why am I asking the where question? You would say, love can be sent to anyone, anywhere. But hey, if it's a physical gift, it has to reach that person on time before Christmas. So it is important that you answer the where question. The where question will determine your timeline, and you can prioritize who should you buy first for. So who do you think you should buy first for? So who would be on top of the list? You know, who do you need to prioritize? Obviously the person who is overseas. So you know, if you have to send gifts overseas, I would ask you to buy it this week without fail, because things are improving, but it's still taking quite long to say reach United States or any other country which is other than New Zealand, which is obviously close. But then if you are sending to England, or if you're sending to Europe, sending to the US, Canada, so these are still taking a fair bit of time. It's really your luck, you know. At times they are good, the couriers, and we use the best of couriers, but at times they are good and at times they are not good. I'm fighting daily battles with the courier services every day, but I would give you this, my 2 cents worth of advice is, if you are sending parcels overseas, do your gift shopping right away, let us know, and we will send it out pronto, this week if possible. So yes, and the next one then is interstate. Interstate is also taking about a week to about, say, 2 weeks. We'll offer, as we always do, Christmas shopping, express shopping towards as we get closer to Christmas, but first overseas, then interstate, and maybe then you can buy for the local ones. So keep in mind, so it's who, why, where, and now we'll come to the 4th point. Now the 4th tip, the all important question, what is it that you are buying? Now you have to be a little clever about this. Now I would suggest that you draw up a little mini customer profile for each and every person. You know, with friends and family it's easy. You know what your mom does, what's her favorite color, what are her lifestyle choices, is she a gardener, is she a traveler? So all of this is easy with your family, with your friends, with your own children, with your hubby dearest. But it does become a little tricky when you are buying for colleagues or your boss, for instance. Okay, so people in your office, so you see them in a formal, like, corporate environment, but you really don't know much about their lifestyle choices. So you have to be a little clever. Maybe, you know, when you go out for coffee, or that, you know, when you are doing the lunchroom kind of conversations, you have to be a little careful and find out what is it that they do. Maybe when they are not working, what are their hobbies outside of work, what are their interests. So, and also observe what kind of colors are they wearing. You know, are they wearing more neutrals, more pastels, or are they wearing a lot of color? Are they color people, or are they, like, you know, absolutely black, white and gray? The neutral palette is what works for them. You can even ask discreet questions. Observe the silhouette. So the silhouette is the outline of the garment. So is she a skirt person? Is she a trouser person? Does she wear a lot of accessories like scarves, you know, jewelry? What kind of bags does she carry? Is she a party person? So all of that, you know, I don't want you to draw up like intense, in-depth kind of customer profiles. We at, you know, anything to do with fashion, we really work very hard on, you know, drawing up the customer profiles. You don't have to do all of that, but you should have a little mind map. You know, in between your ears, you should sort of draw up a profile. So, okay, this is the person I'm buying for, and she obviously, I would associate with color, I would associate with activity. Maybe she travels a lot, she takes holidays, so she is definitely a traveler. So all of that will help you determine what to buy for each person and how to get it right. So that's my 4th tip. So we've covered who, why, where and what. So we'll go on to, I'll give you a few examples actually, make life a little easier for you. So that's coming up next, don't go away. So I'd give you a few examples. You know, for me, whenever I am sending something overseas for a friend who's overseas, maybe from a different country, or maybe she's an Australian but she's living overseas, a slice of Australiana always works for me. So maybe a piece of Australia, you know, which is something she may not find in her own country. So I would suggest that, you know, at AoDA we sell lots of Australia themed products. So if it's an adult, then you can go for the Australia themed scarves. So all of these scarves, you know, we arrived at these scarves after about a year of research. So we went to nature parks, botanical gardens, all of these different places, and we must have taken thousands of pictures, and we created a range of Australia scarves, and these have become very popular, and they become very, very hot selling before Christmas, because people are trying to send a little bit of Australia, the Australian experience, to especially someone who's overseas. I just had a lady buying a scarf from me, and she was so interested. She wanted to know the botanical names of these scarves, and she said, would you send it to my granddaughter in Canada? And I said, yes, of course I will. And she said it's her 21st. So be it a milestone or be it a festive season gift, you cannot go beyond Australiana. So at AoDA you'll find these Australia scarves, the very colorful ones with Australian flora on them. Then we have the crossbody bag, for instance. So the crossbody bags also, some of them come with Australian motifs. These are the Australian finches, a pair of finches, the long-tailed finch. Then if you're buying for a little person, you know, so Australia has unique flora and fauna. So for instance, this koala, you know, koala looks more like a teddy bear. So she'll be familiar with the bear. So there's this big question, is koala a bear or is it not? But whatever it is, it's very cute. And then she'll learn about, this is also a learning experience, you know, she'll find out, okay, there's something called koala, which is very similar to a teddy bear, but not quite a teddy bear. And it lives in a country down under called Australia. So it's also a, you know, she'll learn about Australia, so it's a learning experience for her. So that is something you can do. Now, the other thing is, I'd show you here, see if your boss, for instance, or if your colleague is an out and about town girl, you know, she's an extrovert, she loves partying. So you can then select from something like, you know, our AoDA's clutch bag range, which is fairly extensive. You don't have to buy this. We have several. We have some of them are a little subdued, and some of these are, this is like opulent, you know, it's completely embroidered with rhinestones, etc. So you could do that, or you could buy one of these. Now these scarves, the paisley scarves, these are silk scarves, and they are absolute classics. So someone very luxe, someone very upmarket, very refined, you know, this is an upmarket scarf, a classic paisley scarf that comes minus the upmarket price tag. It's affordable, and at the same time it's very sophisticated. So stainless steel is sustainable, it's non-toxic, it's biodegradable, and it stays forever, it lasts forever. So this will be really appreciated by someone who's passionate about cooking or has become passionate about cooking during the COVID era. So that's an option, but you know how you can make a mistake. For instance, you buy this for someone who, in spite of COVID, in spite of everything, is a die-hard takeaway fan. So he or she will probably have no use for this, and this might end up, you know, in a rubbish bin or at an op shop, and that's not what you are looking for. You want the person to like, appreciate and use your gifts. So if that person does takeaway and has no interest whatsoever in cooking, then maybe instead of the masala box or the spice box, you can go for these little tiffins. So we have the 2-tiered ones, or we have the 3-tiered ones, and this tiffin then they can take to their favorite restaurants and have them filled with maybe a curry of their choice, or maybe some savories, some takeaway dinner or takeaway lunch, and then they do not have to, you know, buy and dispose of those single-use plastic boxes. And those plastic boxes are not good for your friend, the person you are buying for. They are not good for you or me, or even for the environment. So that's where, you know, your discretion comes into play, that you really have to select very carefully that the gift you are buying for is relevant for that particular person. All right, so we have now addressed who, why, where, what, and the last bit then I would also ask you, before I go and do a wrap up, that you make a list of the stores that you can go to and buy for your particular family member or particular colleague or a friend. So of course Dida will, I know without my saying so, Dida will be on top of your list, but then, you know, you can shortlist a few bricks and mortar stores, or even your favorite online stores. And now I'll come to a very important point, and I'd also do a wrap up. So over to the last point. The last column on your template should be the all important question: how much? Now you would say, Samita, it's for friends, family, people I like, people I love, so let's not talk money. But hey, we have to keep track of how much we spend on Christmas shopping. I would not want you to end up with credit card stress post Christmas. So I would suggest that you draw up a budget. So this is your budget. Your budget is like, let's say you'll spend $1,000 on Christmas, or, you know, $500 or $5,000. You know, how far you can stretch the elastic. So that's up to you, but then you can work backwards. So out of those $1,000, I spent so much for my family, I spent so much for my colleagues and friends, and then those sundry Kris Kringles. So that's how you can manage your Christmas shopping. And, you know, money or credit card stress is the biggest stress around Christmas and post Christmas. But if you do a little bit of planning, then you can manage the financial stress. So you know what we have thought at Dida, we have just about, as we were doing this and we were talking amongst ourselves, me and my team members, we'll give you a special something. Yeah, I mean, I did speak about Dida trying to make your Christmas joyful, stress-free. Well, it's just not hot air. We are not just talking. So what I do is, before I wrap up, I'd wrap it up with a promise that I'll actually draw up this template for you and I'll share it on Learn with Samita. So some of you know and some of you don't that Learn with Samita is our Facebook group. And how do you get onto that Facebook group? You have to subscribe. It's very simple. We are not asking for much. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you send a request to the admin of that Facebook group, say, hey, I have subscribed to Learn with Samita and I want to become a member of Learn with Samita Facebook group. So that's where you will find the template, and not only will you find the template there, for every YouTube video that we do, we put all our resources, you know, the extra handouts, the extra tips and tricks is all there for you to make use of. So simple, just make use of, you know, subscribe to Dida, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and then join us on Learn with Samita Facebook group, and you'll find the Christmas shopping template there. Make use of that, in your Christmas will be stress-free. And also get some elf help from Dida. Just call Dida, message Dida. You know, your messages and your posts, your emails do not land up in an inbox black hole. And you are not talking to robots, you know, not a mechanized voice. You are talking to Samita or a team member, and we'll help you irrespective of the fact that you buy at AoDA or you don't buy at AoDA. You can always, you know, pick our brains. We are all experts, design and marketing experts at AoDA. Make use of the resources that's available to you to buy, or just make use of it free. We are always there for you. So till next time, I'll talk about Christmas presentation next time. Bye for now, and I'll be with you in my next video coming up very soon. Bye and Merry Christmas in advance.